Three things you need to know to lose weight on a plant-based diet. Number one, there's definitely less need to track and measure your food when you follow this nutrition approach. Why? It's because the low caloric density of many foods under the whole foods plant-based umbrella. There are, of course, exceptions, to this. I'm thinking of things like nuts and seeds, but generally, whole plant foods have a very low caloric density compared to many of the foods that are popular with other diet methodologies. And so I always argue that comparatively, a whole foods plant-based diet is much easier to just eat quite liberally with portions, and you don't have to worry about overeating. I want to absolutely stress, though, that this isn't a guarantee. None of this is to say that portions don't matter, because they absolutely do. None of this is to say that calories don't matter, because they absolutely do. None of this is to say that your macronutrient breakdown isn't important, because it absolutely is. Yet simultaneously, these foods have such a low calorie per pound or per gram amount that you can eat quite abundantly, quite liberally, and not have to worry about being so neurotic about portion sizes. And what a great benefit that is. How different that is from this typical narrative that you need to eat less food and just move more if you want to lose weight. What you realize when you eat lots of plant foods and play more of this quote-unquote volume eating game is that you can eat quite generously and still lose weight at the same time. As I say, portions, calories, they still matter, but compared to other nutrition philosophies, the plant-based diet is amazing in this regard. Number two is the importance of meal planning and preparation. I want to make clear here, I am not one of those meal prep nerds that gets all the Tupperware containers out on a Sunday night and measures everything out and puts it all in for the next 7 days. I don't want to sound critical. I mean, I called, hypothetically call myself a nerd there. If you do that, I don't really think you're a nerd. I think you're very organized, but here's what I do think. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think you have to do all of this meal prep. I think if your meals are easy and simple enough, like the meals that I often share on this channel and on my Instagram page, I don't think you need to do, 50 minutes of preparation time per meal. I think that is way in excess for most people's lifestyle. You have to think about what's practical. You have to think about what you can realistically stick to. And these are simple meals that I eat, folks. Breakfast being things like oatmeal or my healthy cereal bowls. Lunch, my clients have their, hummus and veggie or avocado sandwiches. Dinners being tofu stir fries, lentil marinara. Some of these things are more elaborate than others, don't get me wrong, and you can make them more elaborate by adding your own ingredients. But generally speaking, this is really simple stuff. So, to come back to the point here, I don't think you need to do loads of meal prep, loads of planning ahead, get out all your Tupperware containers, as I say, on a Sunday night in that conventional example, those meal prep videos you see here on YouTube. I don't think you need to do that. But a little bit of thinking ahead, a little bit of batch cooking, maybe you just double or treble the recipes or the ingredients, the quantities rather, and so therefore you've got your lentil marinara, for instance, for the next 3 days instead of just this evening. Or batch cook. You don't have to batch cook meals necessarily, but you could batch cook the ingredients you make often. So quinoa or the grains, the rice or potatoes, things you use very often, you can batch cook. That's not the same as doing a full meal prep. It's much easier than that, but it will save you time in the long run over the next couple of days. So yes, as much as I'm, as I said earlier, not a meal prep nerd, at the same time, thinking ahead, bit of planning, bit of preparation, it's going to be really important, especially if you're new to this way of eating. When you get things down, you're better at making decisions on the fly, you can trust yourself, but when you're new and you don't fully admittedly know what you're doing yet, you do need a bit of a plan of action. And finally, the third thing you need to know to lose weight on a plant-based diet is that you're still going to have mental and emotional battles. Things like craving, emotional eating, limiting beliefs, your own, doubts and insecurities about your own ability to lose weight. Is it going to be possible for me? I've got 80 pounds to lose. That's a lot. Can I really do that? If you've been overweight for a long time, not to sound condescending here, but if you've been overweight for a long time, it's very, very hard to actually conceptualize yourself as a slim person again. It really can be. I see this with my clients a lot. And so merely thinking that a plant-based diet, as effective as a nutrition approach is going to fix your relationship with food, well, it's actually quite, I don't mean to sound patronizing, but it's actually quite ridiculous to think that even though this diet approach is amazing, it's going to fix all the mental and emotional obstacles. So I want you to have some realism here that even though this diet does leave you feeling full and satisfied, and yes, maybe therefore you're less likely to overeat, you're still not 100% safe with it, right? You're still going to have to do that internal work that is required to work on cravings, emotional eating, limiting beliefs, self-sabotage, as I say it. Sadly, isn't a magic pill for all these things. So they're my 3 things you need to know. Let me know which of these feels most pressing and urgent for you down in the comments below. And if you are looking for more help to lose your first 15 to 25 pounds in the next 12 weeks on a plant-based diet, head over to ryanadamscoaching.com or simply click the link below and I'll tell you more about my Vegan Slim and Sustain program. Speak soon.